So good evening, guys, and welcome to our Thursday call. Tonight's a really, really cool call. It's one of the first times that we've done one of these. Now, for a really long time, obviously, me and Jason always talk about different trading styles. Now, as a lot of you guys know, or some of you might not even have a clue, me and Jason trade very, very, very different. Jason has, primarily always traded much larger time frames. He's traded the 4-hour and the daily and up to the weekly and or monthly, and looks for optimum entries to maximize the absolute most financial gain from larger moves, and in that way maximizing his profit. The cool thing is when you trade like that and you being super patient and waiting for those setups, the great thing is you don't need to be in front of your screen all the time. It's probably the way that I promote and I kind of would encourage most people to trade. Reason B is it works in with most people's lifestyles, but more importantly, it's also probably less stressful than the way I trade. Now, the way I trade very small time frames. I trade primarily breakout strategies, which means I look for impulse moves and then I look for pennants and formations after the initial move or against key levels of resistance or at key levels of support. I wait for impulses or breakouts of times of consolidation, and I do this on very small time frames with a lot more leverage than what someone like Jason needs to do, with an incredibly low lot size. So my trades are very, very, very small in comparison to when I trade 4-hour time frames. However, over, let's say, a 3-hour time period, it wouldn't be completely ridiculous for me to enter anywhere from sort of 7 to 10 trades over that time period. Now, this is extremely stressful. It's probably one of the reasons why I don't have the phenomenal hairline that I used to have. And it's probably one of the reasons why I look like I live out in the sun and have all the wrinkles around my eyes. But the truth is, guys, everyone trades differently. Now, one isn't better than the other. The truth is, the reason why I trade like that, it's very geared towards my personality. Now, anyone that has spent time with me will see I'm extremely high energy. I have a lot of trouble sitting still. If anyone has ever had the pleasure of traveling with me or being at a restaurant, they'll know as soon as I'm done eating, I just want to know what we're doing next. Donnie recently had the pleasure of traveling with me, and it wasn't until about halfway through traveling, I looked at him and I said, dude, is it actually like bothering you being with me? Because I realized I'm just like, we're going to do this, we do this, we do this, we do this. And there was never a second to just stop, relax, and unwind. And, Jason will attest to this. It's hard work being my friend. Now, the reason why trading it just works for my psychology, it works for my mindset, and it works with the way that my brain works. Does that make sense? Me trying to do it the way Jason does it, I get antsy. I check things 100 times. It's just, I can't have that hands-off approach. So for me personally, a more hands-on approach works a lot better. Now, you guys have always asked me to teach you guys scalping, and I understand why. And the couple of times that I have done it, it's been at weird times throughout the day or early in the AM, and we haven't had much of a chance to really to do as much as we would like. The truth is as well, I'm very, very cautious of teaching you guys that, because it can really sometimes confuse a lot of people. And I want to have a very consistent and, consistent message throughout SOS as we go through. But more, I also want to expose you guys to more and more of this. Now, over the last couple of months, we have had a lot of students, a lot of students really start kicking goals in some really, really, really big ways. And some of the people are new people to SOS, and then there's some people that have been with us for a little while. And one of the people that's really stood out is Annii. So if you don't know who Annii is, she was one of the team leaders in SOS. She stood down recently so she can focus on trading, which personally I think was a great idea, because as soon as she stood down from being a team leader, her percentage gauge just went through the roof. And I always say, I would much rather you focus on what's going to make you the money. And she's done such a great job at doing that. And what I really wanted to do was, I saw a lot of people were reaching out and saying, hey, Annii, can we do a session? Can we do a session? And, the natural progression that I see, anyone who does our course and then joins SOS and then, spends a little bit of time getting good at this and sharing information, eventually it's going to get to a point where you kind of get recognized. And I always say that, the cream does rise to the top. So a little bit about Annii, guys, for the people who don't know. Annii got started with us as a student, and she'll share a little bit about her story when I bring her on. But a lot like most people, she was at a time in her life where there were some things going on in her personal life that were quite challenging. The landscape of her business had changed dramatically, and I think she was kind of truly looking for something. And she reached out and connected with me, and it was at a time where Annii said, I would love to come and do your course. And there were some things going on in her life at the time. And truth is, like, she really knew that she needed to be at the course, but it was a challenge to make it happen. But we found a way to allow that to happen. And one of the big things that she asked was, can people really make money from this? And I remember when she asked, I was like, you know what, like, if you get serious and if you kind of really apply yourself, you can absolutely 100% definitely make money from this. And Annii came to our course in Melbourne, had no experience, a lot like most of you guys, had never looked at a chart before or really even, knew what all of this was, but came there, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and really just listened to what we had, and then, committed to SOS and, had some extra coaching and training along the way, and really just went from, being a student and coming through the course like most of you guys do, to then becoming someone who, ended up with a little bit of obvious influence in the community, because the stuff that she was sharing, was adding value. So what we're going to do tonight is, I'm going to hand this over to Annii. Now, keep in mind, guys, this is the first time that she's ever done this. If you guys, or some of you guys were in Spartan 1 and you know what that was like for me and Jason. And you probably wouldn't know, Jason's just laughing. You wouldn't know it, but talking to a computer and knowing that there's now 130 people on the other side, no stress, Annii. It's like, it isn't as easy as it sounds. And how tonight I think will look, and this is Annie's session, and she's open to doing it however she wants. But, I would love it if Annii could just share a little bit about her story, how we got to where we are tonight, and then really share a little bit about her risk management and, her strategy as a whole on how she utilizes smaller time frames and manages her money. And then hopefully we can jump on, look at some charts. And I probably won't be saying much at all. Me and Jace are both here if you need us at all, Annii. And yeah, I'm just very excited to hear what it is that you have to say. So without further ado, I will hand over controls to Annii and we will go from there.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep, perfect.
Yep. Okay. I've actually never used Zoom myself on the other end, so I might need help with working out how to show my screen and all that kind of stuff, if that's okay. So what are you guys seeing right now?
So just you and everyone else on the screen. So straight down the bottom, there's a share screen.
Okay, yep.
Yep, click share.
Yeah.
And then you should be able to select the frame that you want to share.
Okay. So you can see my screen now?
You can see it now.
Okay, perfect. And then I want to see the chat. How do I see the chat? I can't see the chat section, so I don't know if anyone's typing anything. I actually can't hear you guys at all.
So if you scroll right down to the bottom, next to where share was, you should have at the bottom of the frame. Oh, sorry, maybe at the top.
Yeah, it's at the top.
Yeah.
No, I can't see chat.
No, like put your mouse right up to the top and it should hopefully pop it down.
It says participants, new share, pause share, remote. Oh, chat. Hang on. There we go. Okay, I've got it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm really super nervous. I wasn't nervous until half an hour ago when the chat just absolutely blew up. So I want to first address what happened in the chat, general chat just before, with some people who are trying this already who have, you know, been successful, I guess. It's really important to know that this is not the be all and end all. This is not the, you know, golden jewel. This works when it works. It doesn't work all the time, and it shouldn't be the only way you trade moving forward. Everything that you guys have learned with MBA, especially what we learned with Jason, it's so important that you focus on that first, because everything about market structure and all that, it's so important for this. It's still relevant. It's not like you're just going to add some indicators and make some money. So I really encourage you to just keep going with everything that you normally do. Still do your 10 charts, still do your swing trades, everything that you normally do. And this is just another option when you've got some spare time and, you know, want to make the most of it. That's pretty much how I got into scalp trading, because like Michael said, I had a lot of businesses, and it kept me ridiculously busy. And then I sold off half of that and got some time back, and then the rest kind of got sabotaged from there. So I ended up in overnight with no business, and that's when I just became, you know, full on 100% all in with trading. I've actually been with MBA since 2017, not since last year, which I don't think the boys know. I did School of Sparta number 3, I think, but I'm very much known as the silent assassin. So I take my time, get good, and then I let people know I exist. So that's how we got here. What I'm going to go through tonight is I just want to explain the order in which I'm going to teach everything, because I want you guys to just know what's coming up as I'm going, so that if you have questions, just wait till we get to that part of it, and because I may answer it anyway, and if I don't answer it, then, you know, jump in there and ask the question then. So I'm going to first show you the indicators that I use for this strategy and the settings of those indicators, how to assess if it's a good time to scalp, getting into the trade, getting out, risk reward, contract sizing, the rules, what to do once you're in a trade, how to set up alerts for it, and how to set up for the next trade. So I'll go in that order. So I will flick to my scalping one. I really like interaction. So if anyone just wants to jump on and say something as I'm speaking, feel free. So the first thing for this strategy that you need to have on your screen is the EMA set to 255. That's this blue line here. The next one is...
Annie, just quick, do you just want to show them how to actually bring up the EMA for those that don't know how to do that?
Okay, so as in take it off completely?
Yeah, and
just get short.
the process. Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Okay, so indicators up here, and just type in EMA, and it's this one, moving average exponential, and then go to settings. Oh, this happened to me before. 1 second. Yeah, go to settings, and under inputs, just change the length number to 255. Do long and short trades. Yes, this is for long and short trades. The next one, you do same thing, indicators, and this time type in VWAP. I'll explain what these are in a second, but we're just going to get them up first. And there are no settings to change on that one. But if you want to double check, it should be set to session, which you can see there. Sorry, that is V for Victor, WAP. And then the last one is the RSI. I don't know why it doesn't open my settings sometimes. Okay, RSI, you need to change the input length to 2, which I know looks hectic, but just bear with me, and change the style, the upper band to 90 and the lower band to 10. Those can be tweaked, but I think you should just keep it as that for now, because this is the safest settings that I've found. So yeah, I would just stick with that. Okay, so once you've got those on, the first thing you're going to do when you start deciding if you're going to do a scalp, the RSI was 2 and the setting is 90 and 10. The upper band and lower band is 90 and 10. The first thing you need to do is check your bias for the day. So me personally, I don't trade both directions when scalp trading, and I know you can. I know you can do that, but for me, I rather just trade with the trend. So I have a look at the daily to get my bias. I don't place a lot of weight on the daily because it's so different. Like we're going daily to 1 minute, a million things can happen in between. But I do just take a look to see, you know, how it's looking on the daily. Same thing with the 4 hour. On the 4 hour is where I will mark my support and resistance for the day. And because I'm doing 1 minute, I'm actually marking it really quite small. Like I wouldn't do it down here how I would normally do it if I was trading 4 hour. So I'm up here. Oh, is it okay with the black screen? Are you guys good with that? Do you need me to change it to white? That's all good? Okay. Okay. So yeah, I'll do that, and then I will do the top as well. And then with those two, I actually make both of those lines thicker, because once you get into 1 minute, you're going to get confused in a second with what happens. So I make them really thick, so I know that's my support and resistance on the 4 hour, around there. Then I drop down to the 1 hour. That all I'm doing on 4 hours is checking that. Oh, sorry, actually I'm also checking on the 4 hour the most recent candles. And what I'm checking for here is the bodies mostly. I want to make sure that I can see that there's a lot of price action within these sessions, and it doesn't matter if it's a channel like this that's flat, that's fine, but I want to see that a lot is happening within each 4 hour session. If I see dojis like this, or really, really small candles, it's not a good time to scalp. So this is where my session would stop. And yeah, I would just move on. I'm also just taking note of the current color of the candle. And then I go down to the hour and basically do the same thing. I just adjust if I feel that I need to, because I'm probably going to focus more on this area, even though all this has happened. So I'd probably bring it down to here. And mark any other areas of interest. So it could be order blocks, could be, you know, equilibriums, like any other areas of interest, I'm going to mark on the 1 hour, but I'm going to mark them with a skinnier line so that I know once I get in there, it's not support and resistance. So I'd probably mark there, and I take into account like a mixture of bodies and wicks as well. If it's at the top, like here, for example, because if we get a breakout, I don't count the wicks, because that in a minute candle like that is going to happen so fast, I'm not going to get out in time. So I want to know where, you know, price is happy to kind of hang out for a bit. I'll probably mark down here, and I'll probably maybe around here too. Okay, and then from the 1 hour, I'll go down to the 1 minute. What I'm about to show you works on the 1 and the 5. And the reason for that is the VWAP indicator it resets every day. So that's what makes it good for smaller time frames. Every 24 hours at the daily close, it resets. So you can see, I'll make it really big so you guys can see. See here how the white line just had a big push up. That's it resetting. So a really important thing to note is to not scalp trade during that when the daily opens, because it's just going to throw everything out. So yeah, now that I'm here, I am looking for whether I'm going short or long. So if I've decided off the daily, or not the daily, if I've decided off the 4 hour that I should be looking for longs, then I'm only going to look for longs. But that doesn't mean you can't trade both sides. I just want to trade with the trend, and I find that I get higher win rates if I do that. So if I was looking for longs today and we were doing this right now, I would be sitting out of it. And that's okay with me, because with scalp trading, you've got an opportunity nearly every 10 minutes, and that's kind of what really attracts me to it. Yeah, so it's fine with me. Now, with what you're looking for here is you need the price action to be either above both lines or below both lines. So at this stage, we're looking for shorts. If we're looking for shorts, we want price action below both of these lines. And also what you need to pay attention to is I personally don't get into trades when, like if you can see here, it touches. I don't want those because they're tricky. You can see here, you would have had a touch, pushed above, then it broke below. So anything here that is like, this is what I call no trade zone right here. When it's between these two lines here, I won't trade this. And there are trades there, like there's probably 1% there, but I won't trade this. I want to see it clearly break. Exactly what Jason teaches. I want break, retest, then get in, exactly the same. And then that way I can be sure. So I would catch a big move like this. But this is, I call it gutter trash to me. I don't really care about it. Okay, so once I'm here and I'm looking at this and I know I need to go short because I'm below both lines. So the next question is, when do I get in? So if I was, let me just find a good example. This is probably a good one. Make it nice and big. So here we've broken above, and I'm now seeing lower highs. Is it lower highs? Yeah. So I'm seeing lower highs. So I'm not gonna go long from here, even though I'm above the blue line. I'm also not going to go long here because I'm not above the white line. So if I was in this section right now, I'd be waiting for it to break below, and then I would get my retest here, and that's where I would jump in. At the same time, it needs to line up with RSI. So I heavily, heavily, heavily rely on RSI, and I am so strict about not getting in unless it is above or below the two numbers that I told you, okay? This is, like, it can't even be close enough. Close enough is not good enough. It absolutely has to be above or below the 90 and the 10. So And I want to give you a really clear example of that because it's so, so, so important. So here, when we broke down, we got the retest, but can you see here, this point was still in the middle on the RSI. So because it didn't break above this dotted line, I can't get into this trade. I would have to wait. So yes, that does mean I've missed this whole thing, but there was no guarantee that this was going to happen. This could just as easily have gone the other way. And for me, it's not worth the risk. So I would have let this happen. Who cares? Let it come up to here. Now I've got it above, the 90. And then I would get in from here. So this, where is it? I would have got in around here. This trade here, I would have waited for the green to come and got out, is 0.53, depending on what leverage you are. I'll go through later, like what sort of targets you need to be looking for, but basically anything between 0.5% to 1% in scalp trading is an amazing result. And because you can get in and do that a million times. What's the other thing I need to show you? So here is another example where we touched it, we rejected, but if you can see here, we closed above. I did get my thing above the 90. Some people would take that risk and get in. Good luck to you. I wouldn't. I need it to be clearly below both lines. I have on this strategy an 84% win rate, and it's because of that rule. Okay. Let me just check some of these questions. Do you only trade on BTC? BTC and ETH, I've traded up to 5 at one time, and that was extremely stressful, but the market allowed it. But usually I only do BTC or ETH because the liquidity I know I'm going to get filled. And I also only do this on limit, which I'll show you later. So yeah, it's important for me to get fills because it moves so fast. So that's why I only stick to those two. Can I confirm, do you mean you won't trade if candles are between? Yeah, okay. So here, Kath, here, for example, see how we've got this white line here and we've got the blue line here. This is iffy here. So I wouldn't, even though price came up, it broke through the blue, it retested and it kept going. I mean, you can do that, good luck to your life, but I wouldn't do that because straight away it reversed the other way, if that makes sense. So for me, and actually, to be honest, like you can trade with just one of these lines. Like you can choose that you only want EMA or that you only want VWAP. I have both because I want a double confirmation. So but it's totally up to you. I like the double confirmation. It allows me to just be really chill with the trade, which is really important to me. So I'm happy to miss moves like this to know that I'm safe when I take the next one, because yeah, with scalping it can very easily go the other way. Yes, so yeah, if prices between the VWAP and the EMA don't trade, what volume do you trade when you scalp? What volume do you trade what do you mean volume? I don't understand that question. Is there a reason why? I'm not sure why you can't find VWAP. It's a regular indicator. It should be in there. It's nothing special. Yeah, okay, refresh. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so any other questions about that, when to get in? So it's basically the three things. You've got to, if you're shorting, you've got to be below both lines, and your RSI has to be above the dotted line here to go short. The other thing is, I also really, really like it when the two lines are close together. So I'll find an example of what I don't like. Actually, right now, I don't really like this. So see how the two bands are starting to widen? What that means is I have to have a wider stop loss. So, and I don't like that. So I would probably not be trading anymore. I would have traded this bit in a short, and I would be like waiting now for them to get closer. And yeah, here when it's really, really wide. So yeah, like there's a big trade between that, but I don't care because there's plenty of opportunities, and I'd rather just be like, I know when I get in, eventually it's going to go my way. The other thing too is like you can see it's starting to cross above, so that would be another reason that I wouldn't be trading right now. And also, I'm pretty sure we're getting close to, oh no, we're pretty far. The other thing too is if I had everything telling me it's time to go short, but I was close to support, I'm not going to go short. I'm going to wait and see what happens. So this thicker line here was the support that I marked earlier from the 4 hour. So if we were coming down like this, hang on, if this was just going like this and I was, say, here, I wouldn't, and I got all my short signals saying go short, I wouldn't go short from here because what if it bounces off support? So I'm really looking for shorts when I'm closest to resistance, and I'm looking for longs when I'm closest to support, just like normal trading. Do you mean market buy, sell? I don't. I maybe 1 in 20 trades I'll market buy, but I will go through that in a second. Maybe okay, do you market or limit? Yeah, I'll go through that in soon. Are you still waiting for bearish engulfings? If short, are you placing limits? Yeah, I am. I'm taking into account always like candle sizes. You know, whether if I'm in a short and then like see here, for example, if I was in, let me make it really, really big. If I was in this short and then I got this massive green candle, I would get out here, which obviously would be a good decision. Yeah, so candle sizes matter, and they can happen really quick. But when I show you how I decide to get out, you'll see that it sort of becomes a little bit irrelevant. Distance between both lines, yeah. Should the EMA be above? Oh, okay, so the two lines, it's relevant which is above or below. Doesn't matter if this is the other way, it can be. I personally like the blue line below the white line if I'm shorting. But again, I don't like it when they widen like this. So yeah, here was great opportunity as a few of us in earlier today. This should be, yeah. And being above 90, you could be above 90 in the minute, but when the minute, oh, sorry, yes, you're right, Dino. I need to be above the 90 on the candle close. So yeah, this can change a lot within the candle. And so I actually have my alert set for candle close, which I'll show you later. Yeah, it needs to close above the 90 for me to go short. Yeah. Does that make sense so far? So everyone gets how to get in? Yeah, cool, awesome. Okay, so once I am in the trade, I'm looking for signals of where to get out. When I start my session, before I start my session, any time that I'm trading, I watch for a while. So I don't look at a chart, do my charts, get to this point and jump in. I'm watching. I need to watch it for a while, for at least probably 20 minutes to see how it's acting, because every day is different. That gives me an idea of what risk I need. So I'll show you on these two lines because it's a really good example. If we were up to here today, I I would be setting my entry around there, and my stop needs to be above the white, right? So my stop is always a minimum of 0.25%. And it can get more, and I'll tell you why in a second. But if I can get to a point where I can have 0.25% and my entry is below the blue and my stop's above the white, I love that. I want to trade that. My target is always 1%. But what I would do is, if I was here, I would start at 0.2. I would take this to a 1-to-1, which I know we don't love, but just wait. And then I'm going to mark that area, and I'm going to change the color so that I know this is 0.25. Then I'm going to do the next at 0.5. Same thing. Yeah. 0.75. Yeah. And 0.1. Okay, so now I've actually got a risk to reward of 4-to-1, and I would have done it on that trade. But the way that I see it is, when we set a risk limit, we're saying, okay, I'm willing to lose this. I'm willing to lose 0.25% if I'm wrong. So if I'm scalping and I get to 0.25% profit, I want to lock that in, okay? Because why would I be willing to lose it but not willing to take it because I'm greedy? To me, it's just, it's simple math. Like, if I'm willing to give it away, I should be willing to accept it. So as soon as I get to that point, I wait for the candle close, and I also wait now for these lines here, the RSI, to come back up, because I know that, how do I explain this? I know that it's pushed back up as high as it's going to, and I can then set a stop there that is clear of the structure. I won't just get stopped out at 0.25. Like, I'm giving it room to still move further, but I've locked in some profit. So if I were here in this trade right here, you can see that all these RSIs are, all these lines are really quite down the bottom. So I'd wait. Once it got up here and came down again, and then came up to the 90, which is there, that's where I would put my stop above, and I'd let it keep going. However, if you were in this particular trade, because your eyes are on the prize the entire time, you would have taken profit on this anyway, because it hit 1%. So if you were to get a massive drop like that there and it got to 1%, I would put my stop loss at 0.75-ish area and let it run. So if I was in this trade, I probably would have kept going. Like, where would I got out of? Oh no, because it wicked there. So I would have got out about here, and that would have been my trade. Okay, so that's how you catch the big moves, but also protect yourself in case it quickly shoots up the other way. Can you give us a live example? I don't know. Let me figure it out. I don't know how to use that, but let me figure it out on the spot. I think you just press that, don't you? Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah. So if this was, okay, no, I need to go back a bit more, sorry. Do you want to exit? No, I do want to exit. If I wouldn't have taken that one because it closed above. I would have been about here, I think. Okay, so with this one, the idea is to buy as close to the blue line as possible. And sometimes that does mean you miss entries, but I want to get in on limit. So if I miss it, I miss it. It doesn't matter. I'll get another opportunity in 10 minutes. So if I was right here, I'm going to get the alert now to say that's the highest price. I'll just get rid of these because they're not relevant right now. And I would probably have it set up there. And the way I decide where I'm going to put my entry in relation to that is I sort of just look back at what's been going on today, and I see when it's closed below, what's been the distance generally between where it's tried to push up and where the blue line is. So, you know, it's about a distance of that. So I'd probably get in about there, have my stop there, and then I would just wait and see if I got in. The other thing too is, no, I'm not going to tell you that. I don't want you to do that. Do I just press this to play it? No. How do I play it now? Does anyone know? Oh, play. Okay. Yeah, so I would have missed this one because it didn't come up high enough to the blue line. However, if this is my situation right now, I don't really care that I missed it. But can you see how the blue line is curving down? I now just go, no worries, Jerry. I'm going to move you down here and I'm going to wait for the next one. And same thing. Do you take into consideration previous tops? Do you take into consideration previous tops for entries? If they're close to the blue line, I do. So I wouldn't put an entry here. Let me just go back to that because this is a perfect example. I wouldn't put an entry here because it's too far from the blue line. Even though it closed there, it's too far. And considering how small my risk to reward needs to be, if I was to put my entry here because that was the last high, my stop has to be here, which is 0.81. So I'm going to wait for price to come to my blue line. So I would instead just keep moving along. The blue line always catches up. Okay, it always catches up. So you just have to be patient. So I would just sit here and wait. But now, look, I've got higher lows, so I'm not going to try and short, and I've got wide lines, so I'm not going to try to short. Okay, so it's really important to stick to your rules. What? The length of the RSI is 2. Let me see if I can find another one that is close. So see here, like you've got, it's just so confusing. Like if you were to try and trade this, you would just be stopped out too much. Like it's just changing its mind all the time. So just don't worry about this. Like I think this was yesterday. It wasn't that good of a day. And it's between the two lines and it's just a bit yuck. What you want is a day like this where you've got a really nice curve of the line. Like the curve of the line is so important. And I actually an old strategy I used to use was I used to measure the line like this. See how it says 16%. And I would wait. I wanted it to be between 20 and 60% before I got in, but that turned out to be a rubbish strategy because see how it changes the curve if you move your screen around, so it's not actually accurate. So don't use that. It's no good. You can just like naked eye, am I seeing a really nice curve? When it straightens up like this, it's making up its own mind. So how can you decide whether to go short or long if Bitcoin doesn't know what it's doing itself? This is another really nice curve to long. However, you wouldn't have over the daily close. What was the other question? Is there a specific time of the day? No, but the way that I look at it is when I do my support and resistance on the 4 hour, if there's more than 1% between that, which it pretty much always is, then I can find an opportunity. I want to get it 2% between. I don't always, but as long as I can get over 1% between support and resistance, there's an opportunity here, and some days will be better than others. But I'm yet to find a day where I haven't found an opportunity for at least one scalp. And that's what attracts me to scalping, because if I can just get one win a day, that's my goal, one win a day, I find it so good for my mindset, and it helps me like to stick with my swing trading and everything else, because they just sort of play out in the background and it doesn't matter. But every day I feel progress because I've got one win a day, and that's my goal. Leverage I'll get to. Getting into a trade, getting out. So yeah, getting out told you the 25. If you happen to get past the 1%, just move your stop to like 0.9 and then let it ride and just keep moving your stop down. You can be greedy, it's fine. I'm exactly the same, but just make sure you're protected to the point where you don't care. Some people that are using this strategy will just take their 1% and move on to the next opportunity. And that's fine too, like whatever floats your boat. Risk to reward. So I'm just checking these questions. Best time frame. The only time frames that this really works on is 1 and 5 minute. And so it's up to you which one you choose. And that's because of the VWAP. Anything higher than that, it's not, I mean, I haven't really tried it, but I don't think it's that great. Are you having your stop loss over? Yeah, I try to have my stop loss over the white line all the time, which is why when it starts to spread like this, it means I've got to have a bigger stop. So I'm not interested, like move on, come back later. So if I were here and I like really wanted to trade this, my stop has to be which is actually not that bad, 0.65. The most I would have a stop is 1%. However, if my stop is 1%, it's a quarter of my normal contract sizes, if that makes sense. So whatever I would normally use with a stop of 0.25, the more I move up in quarters, the more my contracts have to come down. Does that make sense? Why? Could you say again, just the entry for the one you gave, the first example, just because it was touching the lines before your entry? Do you mean, did I give an example on this one? If it was this one, I would consider that right there. Oops. That right there is my retest. So I would either get in on there, take that trade to there, or wait, get close to the line again, take this one, take that trade down to there. Once it starts to move apart too much further apart than that, I wouldn't get in. So this trade here, I wouldn't take. It's too far from the line for me. However, other people do, so it's up to you. And this I wouldn't take. It's too far from the line for me as well. This I wouldn't take because it crossed over even though it went below. I would wait at this point. I would wait at this point for the next one to come up and cross below with a gap. I didn't get the gap, so I'm not getting in. And this here, you can see why that was a good decision. I need to be clear of the lower line in every entry. So right now we've crossed above, we've now crossed below. If this green candle comes up and closes below with a gap, I could take a short. So I would probably have an entry around here, but I wouldn't take it until it actually closed below. Would you scalp only sideways price? Nah, I scalp anything. I don't care. I do pay attention. I'm not a pattern trader that much. Like, I'm pretty horizontal trader, but I do take patterns into consideration. So if we were on the 4 hour or the 1 hour, if we were in a bear flag, that would be in my mind that we're in a bear flag, and to be aware of that. And so I could trade that flag part up. But I'm very clear of like what's happening on the hour. And the other really important thing is that I always will have, if this is my scalp screen, I've always got my 4 hour screen open on another tab, and I'm constantly flicking back and forth, like every half an hour, definitely on every hour close. Definitely when we're near support and resistance, I need to, because you need to keep an eye on the overall picture. So like right now, if you're here and you're thinking, okay, yep, this, as soon as this gets up here, I can go short, you flick back here and we're in indecision on the 4 hour, on the 1 hour. So this could go either way. So it doesn't mean you can't take it, but just be very careful. And if I was in this situation right now and I had to have this big of a stop, which is 0.7, I wouldn't take the trade. Like, the only way I would risk that is if I could have my stop down at 0.25. So the bigger my stop has to be, and definitely never over 1%, but the bigger my stop has to be, the more careful and the more I have to stick to my rules, because like if it just goes the other way, even though you're using less contracts, you're going to lose the same. It messes with your head to just see it, because on a 1 minute chart, this looks like massive price action. And then you go out to 1 hour and nothing's happening. So it does mess with your head. You do think that you've just caught a massive run and it's moved $5. So just for the sake of like not freaking out, I always flick. And what I really, really want to see is the 4 hour candle color, whatever it is, and the 1 hour candle color to be the same. If I don't see them the same, I've got conflict. And so the more conflict I have, the more it tells me don't do this now. So it's just really important to like go, okay, I see an opportunity, but it could go the other way. Like, just don't worry about it, because in 10 minutes there could be another one. And that's sort of where you need to get to in your head, is like, it's okay to miss these opportunities because there's another train coming, and it's coming very soon. Next question. How are you how do I constantly update my stop? Yeah, I am legit 100% 24/7 on BitMEX, back and forth, trying to move my stop, trying to get it to accept. It overloads, it shits me, it happens, just deal with it. It's just part of it. It's part of it. That's the only annoying thing, is when you get massive price action and you're trying to move your stop because you want to catch it, and BitMEX has a fail and you're just like frustrated. So that does happen. It doesn't happen much, but it does happen. Yeah, so with my what Michael was saying before about scalping being stressful, this is not that stressful, because what I do is I set my alerts. So I don't have to sit here in front of the screen, you know, like I'm at work, you know, for 4 hours trying to catch a trade. I just set my alerts, and my alert is set up. Here, they're set up here. So it's the condition is the RSI. My alerts are set up to the RSI value 90. This is if I'm going for a short. It's once per bar close, which we talked about before. And yeah, just write in the thing to let me know. So if I've decided I'm shorting today, I'll just turn that one on. And yeah, it beeps like every couple of minutes. It's a bit annoying, but it does mean that I can walk away from the computer and do other things. And then when I hear a beep, I just come back. It also helps me once I'm in a trade. I also don't really need to sit here and watch it, because I'll just hear a beep and I know that it's going my way. So yeah, that's how I do that. And yeah, on BitMEX, you can just slide it on the chart. It still overloads and fails sometimes. So that's just part of it. When it's like this, you know, it's pretty smooth. You won't get it. It's only when there's these huge runs that it just overloads. Do you risk 1% of account? Do you risk 1% of account per scalp as well as? Yeah, all the same as any other trading. 1%. What's that at 5 p.m.? What happened at 5 p.m.? Are you saying here? Is that what you're talking about? Oh, I think I already answered that one. Always check your liquidation. Yeah. So this is a good one. Okay, so when leverage, 25x or 50x. I don't get in on 100x. I have, but I'm not telling you to do that. I'm actually telling you don't do that. I start with 25x, and once you work it out, your 25x stop is going to be so far from your 25x liquidation is going to be so far from where your 0.073 thing is that it's really quite irrelevant. But as soon as you get into profit and you've protected your profit, you can move it up to 100 for the ego photo if you want, but do not forget to move it back on the next trade, because if you're doing this like 7 trades in a row and you don't change it back after you've taken your screenshot, you'll get in on the next trade at 100x. You'll probably put your stop here at 0.73, but on 100x, your stop is actually, I think it's 0.4 on 100x. So you'll get liquidated. So it's really important. Like, unless you're like just not doing ego photos, then you don't need to worry. But if you're doing them, then you really have to watch that, because it's happened to someone. So what is your signal to go short? Just a red candle? No, my signal to go short is below both lines, RSI above 90, clear of the lines on the retouch. And obviously it's the other way to go long, obviously. Will that be at the, oh, I think I've answered that. Johnny, and you love the level of detail. Thank you. Do you ever use trailing stops? I don't use trailing stops because, you know, I want to work it out. I'm just not good enough at it yet, to be honest with you. So where on the chart would you set your alerts exactly? Okay, I'll show you. So my alert is on this dotted line at the 90 and this dotted line at the 10. So I would just click around there. And then edit it here. And I'll just change that to 90 and change it to bar close and then put in whatever I want. So I'll just delete them. Okay. What's the gap in price you've mentioned when you're considering on entering? Oh yeah, it's just the eye gap. Like, just use your eyes. So if I saw this here, last time price. Okay, I think my mouse battery's dying, so it's just not responding as quick as it should. But if I saw this gap here and I was waiting for a retest, I want it to be the same. So I would have my entry set at about here. However, I'm watching these, and because I got the close above, I would have cancelled my order, or I would have known coming up here that it was going to keep going because see here, it wasn't at the top. Does that make sense? Like if it's in the middle here, even if you see, like this is a really good example, even if you see this point here and it's gone back down, don't think, oh cool, price is going back down. It's not. Look, it went back up. Okay, it has to be above the dotted line. So that's why I wouldn't have taken an entry here, because it can just, yeah, it can go either way. The ego photo is more important than getting liquid. Okay.
Just out of curiosity, do you, when you're scalping like this, do you take into consideration trends and channels?
Yeah, so I'll mark all of that on the 4 hour. I don't do any sort of pattern on the 1 minute other than a trend line. That's it. I don't want to complicate it for myself. So if I was in a short here and this started happening, I'm going to get out of the short. Does that make sense?
Yep. Do you use smaller internal trends there? Like, do you see that trend break in the retest at all, or? You don't say, please don't let me confuse you.
No. I would, okay, so if I had this drawn in right now and I am waiting, I want to wait for a break to go short, it would have to break. It would have to come up and fail to hit the blue line before I went short.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And also, this is a good indicator too, because I've got a lower high here. So that might be happening soon. So yeah, it's not, even though I've got my trend line drawn here, I'm starting a new trend here almost. So yeah. I could go short possibly soon.
Yeah. The only reason I ask is the trend that I was talking about is just a little bit above yours, with that lower high actually being the retest of that broken trend, not drawing it from the bottom that you've drawn, but it's very, very, very minor and extremely internal. And it was purely out of curiosity more than anything.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Just dollar cost average jokes. Okay. Could you please do a list of trade rules for scalping? Yeah, I'll go through all the rules. I'll do a recap once I've got through everything. Non-negotiables, yeah, I'll do that. Do you find you miss a lot of entries, trades, waiting for the candle to close below both lines and RSI to close above 90 since you're using limit orders once you can't always set a limit order in advance when it's nearing the line? I don't miss a lot of entries, but I miss some, but I don't care because there's another opportunity coming. It's not like, you know, I'm going to have to wait an hour now because I missed that one. I'll probably have to wait maybe 5 or 10 minutes. So I really think with scalping, you have to get the attitude into your head of like, meh, do you know what I mean? If you miss it, you miss it, who cares? There's another opportunity. If you have that mentality of like, damn it, I missed that one. Damn it, I missed that one. Then you're going to FOMO in. And because it looks like the price action is so big because you're on such a small time frame, you'll FOMO in at the bottom and then it shoots up and, you know, then it hits your stop. So FOMO is really important, not caring if it runs away. Like I said to you before, if you're here, you're sitting here thinking, oh, there's a gap. Oh my God, the price is going down so much. I could have made so much money, but I didn't get in up here. So I'm missing out. The price catches up. Okay, it catches up to the line, so don't worry. The opportunity comes. I was asking, taking to student RSI being under both lines. Are you waiting for red candle to open? Yeah, I am. I'm waiting for a red candle to open. However, that is when it can run away from you. So I'm more making sure that I'm above the line, and I'll have my entry set at limit regardless of what color the candle is, because if it's that high, like, I mean, it can do a double sometimes. like this here, this is a double. So price would have gone up and then gone up again. But it doesn't go up that much. So yeah, I do just get in on limit, but yeah, I'm only like taking the risk on 0.25%. So yeah, it sort of like makes it sort of makes it a little bit irrelevant what color the candle is, as long as you're really high above this. Can we have a cheat sheet in Word for it? Yeah, if Michael's happy for me to do that, I can do that. Yeah. Will this be available for rewatching through Discord? If I do a good job, I imagine. Like, otherwise, it'll disappear and they'll be like, that never happened. So we'll see. How far away is too far? It's just an eye thing, pretty much, 6. Like, how far away is too far? It's personal preference. Like, yeah, if it's running away to a point where I like have to widen my stop to above 1% to be above the white line, I just don't want to take the trade. But some people do it, you know, like some people do it. Each to their own. Michael said something to me that is so important, and I really want to say it to you guys. I, in one day, doubled my account, right? And it was a maniac thing to do, and I don't recommend it. I was doing 5 scalps at a time for 11 hours straight. I needed therapy after it, but I messaged Michael and I said to him, Michael, I doubled my account in one day using proper risk to reward, no, like, you know, not doing anything stupid. Like, it happened. He just wrote back, good, don't give it back. That's what he wrote. And I just went, yes, I'm not giving it back. So that's how I trade all the time, is like, I'm not giving this back. If I feel that this is not 100% within my rules, like, no, Charlie, you can't have my money. Like, that's it. So if I have to wait, I have to wait, and it's fine. So fine. So yeah, just keep that in your head. I'm sorry, there's so many questions. I'm just getting a bit lost. Sorry, one sec, guys. Oh, thanks, guys. Okay, I understand there are extra fees with market entries, but I'm curious as to why you use limit on 1 minute time frame. Does it always get picked up? Okay, so here's the thing. If the price is not moving all that fast, it's taken practice, but I can get in on limit, okay? And when you start using this strategy, you might miss some entries because you've put it to, I've missed entries by 50 cents and it hurts, but it happens. And I think it's just because it's been drilled into us that, you know, market fees are such a bad thing, but they're not really that bad. I just don't think you should make it a habit of marketing into everything, especially if you don't have a huge account and you're trying to grow it. Try to limit in as much as you can. And if you miss it, like you'll miss it. Like, you'll start to learn where to put price so that you don't miss it. Yeah, so that's that. Adopt a dog. What? Okay, I don't know what's going on there. Market can really cut profits. Yeah, like I would probably market in 1 out of every 20 trades, if that, like really hardly ever. I market into everything and I really need to stop doing it. Yep, okay. All right, what else is there? I think I've gone through everything. I'll do a recap, but before I do it, do you have any other questions? Contract size. Contract size is how you would normally do your contracts for normal trades. However, it's 1% of your account if it's at 0.25. if you go up, don't forget, if you go up with your stop loss, don't forget that you have to reduce the contracts so that it's even. So if you're going from 0.25, say for example, you're putting $100 and you're at 0.25, then if you go up to 50, that has to come down to $75. If your stop loss is going up to 0.75, then you're putting $50. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to reduce it if you've got a bigger stop loss. And so that is why sometimes when these bands widen, it's not really worth doing the trade. Like, just wait for them to get a bit closer. Screw paying fees. Yeah, that's it. If you're going to mark it in, it's because you don't want to miss it, and that's FOMO. So we're stronger than that, guys. What are the indicators actually indicating? Price, action, and volume, most of them. Stops are market. Stops are market. You can do limit if you want. I mean, I stop market in my normal trades as well. But you can also do, like, if you do it like Jason, who posted all of his wins today, he was at one point, I don't know if he's still doing it. Jason, if you want to maybe jump on and just write in the chat if you are. When he was getting good at this, he just had a sell order at 1%, and that was it. So he just had it there automatically. So you can do that. But now he's good. He's greedy and going for bigger targets. How long does the average trade take for you? Watch my Instagram. Example, it's 6 minutes. Sometimes, like, it doesn't, it's under 10 minutes. But do you want your stops to execute that change to cop the fees? Yeah, they're right. That's right, Chris. Cop the fees on market exiting. So VWAP is a volume weighted average price, which means that it's the average traded price in the session, and it resets every 24 hours. That's why it's good for small time frames. So you do not use that on anything higher. It makes no sense on like 4 hour daily. It's irrelevant. It's based on volume and price. And that's why it is good for short time frames. How many candles after an entry is identified before an entry becomes invalid? How many candles after an entry is identified? I'm not sure. I don't understand the question, Dean. I don't count candles. Yeah, I don't count candles. Yeah, always protect capital. It's so important, so important. If you take, if it just turns around the other way and you're just taking 0.25%, it's still a win. It's still a win, and in a few minutes you can jump back in. So the other thing too is this, actually, I can't believe I forgot this because it's so important. If I was to get into this, just say I got everything right and this was my entry. No, let me do here so I can give you a real example. Let me do here, actually. Right, say that was my entry and I got in right there on that red candle. I'm going to make this really big. This isn't the right time to get in, so I'm literally just showing you the candle. Don't look at RSI or anything else. But if I was here and I got in here and I got down to about here and the RSI was up the top, meaning price was about to go down further, then I would, at that point, move my stop to my entry price. Okay, so that way now it's not enough for me to take profit because I'm only here. So I do need for it to come down a little bit. However, I'm in a risk-free trade, right? If it comes up to my entry and I get out at 0, well, I had a shit entry. That's my fault, but I can just jump back in. Okay, so that is how I have a high win rate as soon as I have enough room. But don't do this if, say, you're in, sorry guys, if you're in a short, don't move your stop to your entry if the RSI is at the bottom, because that's telling you price is going to go back up, right? So just wait for it to turn around and go back down, and then, turn around and go back up. Once it's at its high, then you know, like say the RSI was here, you know, okay, that's the highest it goes in this part. It's free of my entry, so I can move it to 0. Yeah. And sometimes that will happen, and 2 minutes later I'm stopped out at 0, and I just jump back in, and like that doesn't really, it's irrelevant, as opposed to it turning around for at this I would have copped a loss, right? So on this particular trade, actually, it would have been really good to move my stop to entry, and I wouldn't have been in trouble. Can we get a, oh, my light just went off. I've probably gone dark. Did you mention time that it resets? Not good. Yes, daily open. How to set up yeah, okay, and all those how to set it all up is at the start. Yeah, let's just see if this video exists after today. You can rewatch. You can work up the settings on the end. Please, I'll take a photo of settings. Okay, I'll do the settings again. Get ready to screenshot. So EMA, I hope these open because sometimes they don't. Okay, EMA 255. It's just a number change. VWAP is no, it's not opening. VWAP is that you don't change anything in that. Let's see if it'll open now. Yeah. The anchor period is session. It should be default it should be default set to that, so you shouldn't have to change it. RSI is the important one. Yep, so screenshot this. The length is 2. That's the only change you make there. The style, upper band 90, lower band 10. Cool. Yeah, Pete, I'll put, I've got like a, yeah, I've got a, yeah, I'll do that. What's the reason why? I do go into long positions, Stephen. If it's right now, it's not long time, it's short time. Do you mean here? Like, why wouldn't I long this? Because it's against my rules. In order for me to long, I need to be above both lines, and I need the RSI to be at the bottom. So right now I'm below the line, so these aren't long opportunities for me, even though there's a trade there that's long. It's iffy. There's no guarantee that won't keep going down. So I need to see it above the lines to go long. I don't want to guess, basically. So you've just entered, can we track this? I wouldn't have entered this short, Johnny. Tell me why. You tell me why I wouldn't have entered this. Why am I exact? I don't know, RTTY 255, because it works. That's all I know. I've taken 4 pages with notes. Okay, cool, yeah. Do you have a name for this strategy, Annie? Yep, the money maker. How do you develop this strategy? Okay, good question, Kayleen. Okay, I need to give you a brief history. So like I said to you guys, I actually started with MBA in 2017, and it was just a bit of fun for me. And then when everything went belly up in May last year, I was like, what am I going to do? Because I don't want to start another business. I hate business, I hate staff, I hate everything, but I need to make money. And because this had always been a hobby, I thought, well, what if I did okay with it as a hobby. So I thought, what if I take it seriously? Like, you know, maybe like, could I turn this into a thing? Like, could this be the thing? And so that's when I got really serious about it. And that's when I messaged Michael. I saw there was a Melbourne course, and the Melbourne course was the next day after I had this thought. So I was like, I've got to get there. And so Michael helped me do whatever it took to get there. And I went there and I resat the course. And I am a person that is better learning live. So I got a lot more out of it. And I was super motivated from that moment. And then I just like did everything that we all do, right? So I watch every call of Jason's, every call of Donnie's, do whatever they say, like listen, practice, whatever. I actually then went to the indicator channel to built-ins, and I Googled every single indicator and learnt what they do. And I made myself like a indicator Bible. And then from that, I learnt that indicators aren't like, they don't all do the same thing, and they don't all work in every environment. So I saw so much that people would just add indicators because they saw someone else have an indicator. But like some indicators are like trending, they're good for that. And some are good for like showing changes in price in direction and things like that. They all have a different thing, and they're good for different times. So I had to learn like which one is going to suit this time frame and suit also when it's a good time to scalp. So that's how this sort of ended up coming about. And so then I actually developed probably 4 million strategies. Like I probably have some here. Let me just see. Load. Like here's one, for example. So this is a ribbon strategy. So I found this on YouTube, and I couldn't find the actual ribbon. There's just MAs. I couldn't find the ones I want. So then I tried to make it myself, and I completely stuffed it up. So then I asked Donnie to fix it for me, which he did. So then I played around with this, and this is a good strategy, but after a while it became too hectic. Like, look how hectic this looks. Like if you're actually trying to trade this, it's just confusion in your brain. So I kept hunting and hunting and hunting, wanting something that looked simple and gave me a clean chart. You know, I've got 3 things on my chart, and all I have to think about is, do I have higher highs, lower lows, and am I below or above my lines? And it's so simple for me that it's chill vibes. That's what I'm about, is just chill vibes. I don't want to be hectic scalper. And so this particular one I've been doing for like probably 6 months. And yeah, like I said to you before, silent assassin, just did it in the background, got really good. And then I was like, I wonder if this is replicable. Like, I wonder if someone else could do this. So then I think that the first person I taught was Jason, JMS Online, which was only 5 days ago. And he was telling me his numbers today, and I nearly fell to the floor. But again, like, this isn't get rich quick. Like, keep doing everything else. This is just an addition. I forgot the question I asked. Yeah, why wouldn't I have got into that trade? Yes, exactly. Because it crossed above the blue line. Yeah, good one, guys. Annie, would you have the alert setting as crossing above for RSI? Let me just check what my alert says. No, I just have it at the number. I just have it at 90 or at 10. And it just says crossing. Are you guys saying wow because this trade's working? So yeah, we crossed above, so we wouldn't have got into that. Here is the fail, so you would have got in on this one. So yeah, we would be making money.
Can I just interject
Sure.
really quickly?
Yeah.
Where I was talking about the internal trend, can you just draw one more trend line for me?
Sure.
Where you've got it's almost your second and third touches there.
Here.
Not down the bottom from left, where you started your trend?
Here?
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you just drew that up and through almost where your red squiggly line is.
Oh, like here?
Yep, but you would have started it where the new market structure started, not at the bottom of that impulse.
Yep. So here?
Yep, and then tighten it up.
About there?
Yep, so that was the break and the retest that I was talking about.
Oh, this one here?
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
I was just curious if you saw that as well, but it goes against your
rules.
It goes against your rules and your strategies. Hence why I was just asking. And I just want to point out why I was asking that and just share what I was seeing in and around that, because it's really, really interesting. And I love that your rules wouldn't allow you to do that, because rules are rules. They can't be broken, which is incredible. I would have really struggled not to enter there.
Yeah. Oh, I do, Michael. Like sometimes I'm like, oh man, it's so close to the blue line, but I have to be disciplined and just go, no, I can't do that. There's going to be another opportunity.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the time.
I just heard, I've never been able to hear that before. I do have a girl voice. I speak differently to girls than I speak differently to guys. And I just heard that for the first time ever.
Good. I'm glad we got here, Michael.
The kid's mum will always say, I can tell when you're on the phone to a girl.
Okay, well, how long did this process take you? Months. But guys, okay, so it's taken me about 6 months to get here, but you got to understand that I don't work. I don't need to work. So I literally, I have been on studying, trading 11 hours a day, every single day. And I understand that most people cannot do that. And that's why it takes longer. So yeah, I'm not saying like 6 months, it's basic. Like if I was working full time or, still had my business, this would probably have taken me years. I'm just very blessed and very lucky that I am able to survive without needing to work. This is start. Any chance? I'll do a very, very, very quick recap as soon as I've gone through these questions. It's pretty basic. I'm in the short from 6641. Good to have some rules though. Good on you, man. I hope it works out for you. Protect it. 6641, protect it. There's a trade every 10 minutes. Don't need to stress. Exactly. Do we cover where you exit? Yep. 25, 50, 75, 1%. Protect. Let it ride. Be greedy. You're allowed. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, quarantine is perfect time to get good at scalping for those that are home, but yeah, not everyone's home. Okay, so those are all the questions. So very, very quickly, if I'm shorting, I must be below both lines. I must have a gap between where the price pushes up to whichever line is lower. It doesn't matter which line is above the other. As soon as my trade moves away and I'm into profit, I'm moving my stop to 0. So at the very, very least, I get out at nothing, no loss. And then I'm matching up the RSI to decide when to move my stops into profit along the way. Aim is to get to 1%. If I can get more, I can get more. If not, take it, get out, get back into the next one. Try to get your stop to be at 0.25 when you start the day. However, what you need to do is look over what's been happening during the day. And this is literally how I do it, is I'll just go like this. If I had it there, would I have got stopped out? Yes, I would have. So therefore, I need to make it a little bit bigger. And I'll just move it along. And I also need to make sure that I can get it above the white line. at this point, right now, if I was to be trading, my stop has to be fairly wide. So that means I'm doing less contracts. RSI, I watch RSI more than what's happening on the chart. And RSI also helps me not freak out when I'm in the trade. So right now, you could have taken profit and FOMO'd out because you saw two big green bullish engulfings, right? This is a perfect example. The reason why I wouldn't have is because the price is at the top here. So this tells me it's going to go down further. So I would have just protected it in case I'm wrong, but I'm not stressing because this is telling me it's going to come down again. Okay. What else? The alerts you guys know how to do, how to set up for the next trade. Just make sure if you're moving leverage that you change it back before you get into the next trade. Yeah, so I think that's it. Is there any other questions that I didn't just cover? Yeah, Mr. Stark, can you please explain why you enter there despite RSO? Why enter? Yeah, you're right, actually. I shouldn't have entered that one because that wasn't above. You're actually right. You got me. Lucky I didn't enter this one. No, what, Skinner? Okay, all good. I think that's it, guys. If you have any other questions, let me know. Did it? I'm done.
Yeah, good. Like amazing work, Annie. Like, thank you so much. I just quickly wanted to share. First of all, like, thank you. I actually learned the amount of knowledge that you have is actually really impressive.
Thank you.
But I wanted to point out a couple of things for everyone who was on the call. Is Annie said a couple of things that show a huge, I think, a huge indicator into kind of what it looks like to truly immerse yourself in this and really kind of get to a point where you can do this. Now, Annie is pretty much, she's just like anyone else, has gone through her challenges, has gone through the ups and downs. Life has done all the things to her that it does to all of us. But she did something that most people wouldn't do. And that was when she had the spare time and when she had the ability, she truly immersed herself and didn't make any excuses, didn't say that it's too hard, it's this, I don't know it, I don't understand it. Just really head down, ass up and got to work. And, I always have a lot of admiration for anyone that has that level of grit and determination. And, as I can almost guarantee, Annie would be the first one to say that there were some losses along the way. It was hard. I mean, me and Annie have had to butt heads and because there's so many things in this space that can derail you and certain things happen, but she stayed the course and she's paid the price. And, now it's truly starting to, pay dividends. And it excites me. It excites me and it makes me super happy to watch and listen. But more importantly, it makes me really, really proud that when you share your journey, there were so many other things that MBA was able to play a role in. That it just makes me really proud, not just of MBA, but the community and the people in MBA, because I know that there are so many people within this community that played their role, that helped and supported. And I was very, very happy for you to acknowledge those people. And it makes me really proud. It makes me really, really proud of MBA, and it makes me really proud of what we're doing here. And more importantly, it shows me that we're on the right path and we're on the right track and we're doing good work. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Annie. I hope everyone got something out of this. No doubt AJ will have this uploaded and in the back office in a timely, ridiculous manner. And we'll do it again sometime soon. So guys, thank you so much. Annie, if you want to, I know you were talking about building cheat sheets or doing something there. I read, yeah, absolutely. You have complete permission. Go out and get that done and get that to the guys. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks,
All right,
Annie.
guys, have a great night.
Thanks,
You did an
Jason.
amazing job, Annie.
Thank
Amazing.
you.